Hello to all you guys out there in YouTube land. Yes, it's me, DR. I'm trying to do this video in one take with low power, low battery on my phone. So, apologies if this isn't as coherent as it should have been, but as I said, I'm trying to do this quite rapidly. Anyway, let me get to my point. This has been an article that's been out there in the news currently within the UK that is quite close to my heart for various different reasons. So I'm going to start with an opening question to yourselves out there watching this video. So let's say you saw a parent or an older person with a younger person. Say the older person is, I don't know, in the 30s, and the younger person is 2 years old, for argument's sake. These are rather arbitrary numbers. Anyway, you saw the older person hit the younger person. Now, hit is a quite obscure word, so let's just start off with a tap. Firm tap on the wrist. Made contact. Now, some people might feel like, oh, okay, that's okay. Depends on the circumstances, all these things we'd hear about. Okay, so that situation now, same situation, it's not a tap now, it's more aggressive. Firmer, harder. What would you want to happen? Now, some people would be okay with this. Some people wouldn't. Okay, let's say that tap is now pulled right away, arm goes right away back, with speed, hits the 2-year-old. What do you feel now? Is this more severe? Would you want someone to do something about this? Let's say that tap isn't with an open palm, it's now with a closed fist, moving at speed towards a kid. That tap, that hit, is this different? And for me, that question now, and the question of what would you want someone to do about it, because I don't think there's anyone watching this video that if they saw a closed fist with speed from someone in their 30s going towards someone who is 2 years old, wouldn't want something to happen. And what would that be in the real world? What would we actually want to happen in the real world? I'm guaranteeing the few people watching this video will say, arrest them, prosecute them, send them to jail. So whose authority is that? Whose authority is sending them to jail? Think about it for a second. Because these are the questions that have been raised with the Alfie Evans case within the UK. So I'm going to read some of this out just so I get my facts right. Alfie Evans is the terminally ill toddler who was at the heart of a heated legal battle in the UK. Now, for those people who don't know, Alfie Evans has passed now. It's a year after the controversial case of Charlie Gard was around, and this case has gone around, and lots of people have jumped on the bandwagon for various different positions. But I want you to keep that first example in your head. Now, Alfie Evans was nearly 2 years old with a mysterious terminal degenerative neurological condition. Against his parents' wishes, the hospital where he was seeking care withdrew life support, and his parents were barred by British courts from seeking care for Alfie elsewhere. Now, I'm guessing some of your people out there are going, this is terrible! What's going on? Why is this? Why aren't the parents allowed to make the choice about their kids? Why are the state getting involved? This is terrible. The parents should have permission to do whatever they want with their kid. It's their kid. They're looking in the best interest of their kid. And there's been lots of kind of attention. I'm reading actually from a Vox article because it's shaped in a specific way, and I think actually it's really good that, using this as an example from my perspective, there's a Ted Cruz, Mike Huckabee, Pope Francis weighed in, Facebook groups supporting continued medical treatment for Alfie. Alfie's army has 500,000 supporters. It's a hot debate. In America, particular conservatives have used the Alfie Evans rallying cry to condemn socialized medicine and government intervention. Former Republican Joe Walsh, for example, tweeted that Alfie Evans' case showed why Americans need AR-15 rifles. Let's let that settle in. So, this case shows that Americans need that to protect themselves from the state. A number of Catholics have weighed in as they see the secular culture of death caused by moral indifference about abortion. So because you're allowed to kill a child, a fetus, that then relates to Alfie's case because they're exactly the same. A woman's right to choose is the same as this situation. I'm still struggling to grasp that. But let me tie some particulars in to the earlier example. We all agree that we need a objective, or should I say, an external, unemotional arbiter or arbitrator in emotional decisions. So, irrespective of why the parent punched, hit the child, we would want consequences for their actions if those actions were deemed unreasonable. Now, I'm going to know there's going to be people going out there going, oh, yeah, the state shouldn't allow, I got a beating, that didn't... Those arguments don't make sense to me. Because if two people have a fight and a punch up, we deem that as... But if one person now has a genetic connection to the individual, that situation is now different, and they're now allowed to physically intervene in someone. So if a stranger wasn't allowed to hit your kid, why does it make it right for a parent to hit a kid? For me, that the fact there's a genetic connection confuses me in that regard. But we'd also understand that we'd want a third party to be involved that potentially has the skills, knowledge, ability to make a reasonable decision when we couldn't. And that's why we'd want someone to come in. The force of the state helps maintain the consequences for people's actions. And you might say, well, Jewel, the parents, they must have been working in the best interest of the child. I would hope that be the case for most parents, but I think we'd all be able to point out situations where the parent may not make the best choices for their children. Serious drug addiction, mental health issues, where the parent may not make the best choice for their child. And that's why sometimes we need an external arbiter. And especially when we're dealing with something like medicine, there's even more recourse for us to use an external arbiter. Now, in this case, people have said that people are unsure about the medical condition. I think you've got to realise that people have made statuses about the neurological condition. So therefore, there was some awareness of what was going on. And the fact that in every article I've seen about them, the use of the labelling degenerative means that some outcomes, some diagnosis were made. And they weren't made by the parents. So who made those diagnoses that people are getting these things from? It might pain people to think about this, but we put our decisions in the hands of experts all the time. I don't wire my house. I'm not an electrician. Maybe you are. If you're an expert in these things, then you'd understand why you'd want an expert. I'm in the UK. We use Corgi or gas safe registered engineers rather than your mate. And the reason behind that is there are outcomes and harms that can be caused. The same way that we also say that when someone punches someone, there are consequences because the person punching is causing harm, irrespective of the reason behind it, irrespective of the intention. You're punching me, and you're punching me because you need me to be aware of something. If I'm not aware of why you're the reason, and a fight starts, we don't say, well, you're punching me because I needed him to be aware that, I don't know, a raindrop was falling on his head, and I was punching him in his best interest, or he wouldn't listen to me because I was trying to get my point across. So I punched him. That isn't necessarily a reasonable cause to cause harm. And in this situation, I'm not medically trained, but the articles I've read with a certain leaning are all talking about the freedom of the parents, and we forget that on a day-to-day basis, we consult with experts and we allow them to make the choices and decisions in our lives. And if the expert is saying X, then maybe we should listen to them. Because in all the other articles where the doctors save lives, make the right call, it's not on news, is it? But it is on this one because it serves a purpose. And when people are now starting to add the idea of the abortions to this and make connections, it blows my mind. Now, I don't want to go into too much detail because, as I said, I have some connections with this article that maybe I don't want to put onto YouTube at this precise moment in time. But I can turn around and say there's more to this whole shebang than some people are willing to look at. And my thoughts and condolences go out to all of the people impacted by this. I'm not emotionally disconnected from this situation, but it really frustrates me when these harrowing things are turned into ways of driving a certain ideology and view. It cuts me to the quick, and it frustrates me. So I'm keen to find out actually your guys' opinion on this. How much do you know of it? I don't know if I should do another video later on about my thoughts and feelings behind this. You know, to the people who really care about Alfie, my thoughts and my condolences go out to you. It's a terrible situation, but I think this is being handcuffed and hijacked by people who have definite agendas and forget that in other facets of the world we rely on the views of experts, their opinions, thoughts, and their viewpoint. And sometimes decisions made by people who are emotionally connected to a situation might not be in the best interest of the people involved in the situation. And that's a real important thing to make. Sometimes you need to rely on opinions of people who aren't connected, who can be emotionally disconnected from the situation, and weigh up all the facts and figures. And that's the thing that people aren't grasping. Or certain people aren't grasping for whatever reason. The power of the individuals is fantastic. But what about... We all say that power has limits. And if that stops at my right to hurt and injure you or cause unnecessary pain, I think that's kind of being ignored from this situation. So this is me saying, have a real safe journey wherever you're heading. Please stay safe, people out there. I'd love to know your thoughts and feelings. Put it down there in the comments area. Like, share, and subscribe. All that type of stuff. I'm just keen to find out what you guys think about this situation. I said, peace out and have a safe journey wherever you're heading. God, that's me stumbling. But yeah, have a safe journey wherever you're heading, guys. Bye. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you enjoy my content and want to know as soon as I post a new video, follow me on Twitter at Dual_RYT. That's Dual_RYT for more of my thoughts as well as updates as soon as each new video is released.